Hi everybody, Chris from BattleGoat Studios.
And George from BattleGoat.
We want to talk to you today about some new features that have come into the game that are actually built on requests that go back more than a decade. A bit of the backstory on this is, of course, Supreme Ruler has always had very in-depth military. We have a database with thousands of units in there. And one of the things you can run into is certain tank chassis or airframes for airplanes. Well, they get used in the real world in multiple ways. Maybe a certain country buys a jet outfitted for air to ground, but they can also just change the weapons and that airplane is now air to air. And so that's considered a refit on a piece of equipment. And we've had a request for this for going back probably to Supreme Ruler 2010. Well, it's finally in the game that players will be able to select their units, give them an order to go for a refit, and that will return them into construction for a short period of time, but then you can switch your attack fighters to interceptors without having to build a whole new squadron of aircraft. The other feature that goes along often with refit is people say, well, I have an M113 infantry unit, and in the real world, these things have gone through an A1, an A2, an A3. They get revisions on these things, they get minor improvements. In the Supreme Ruler games, once you had researched the next generation, all you could really do was build a new one and scrap the old one. We're now adding the upgrades, similar to the refit. You can select a unit. I find my M113A1 on the map. I tell it to upgrade. It will go back into construction for a short amount of time and come back out as an M113A2 instead of an A1. And so those two had been long-time requests, and Supreme Ruler 2030 has been our opportunity to deliver on those. And of course, the AI has been made aware of some of these things as well, that when it's deciding the things to build, it will consider refit and upgrade. And a lot of how the AI works has had some pretty big rebuilds over the last couple of years.
Yeah, some of the things that we're really adding to 2030 is the AI understanding more of things like build sequences. We've added a lot of code both from Galactic Ruler and new code in 2030 so that the AI can understand unit specialties and more distribution of different types of forces. The upgrade and the refits it will understand and use as well. So this gives the AI a much more modern feel to the types of militaries it will be designing. The other thing we've also done is a better understanding of its threat levels so that the AI will do more building and upgrading when it is in a situation where it senses a threat or it's an active war, and it will not build thousands of units when it's at peace and has no use for those units other than draining its treasury. So those are some of the combinations that will both improve the player's equipment list capabilities and the AI's as well.
And the AI's knowledge of what to build hasn't just been improved for its military stuff, it's also now building more types of facilities and even transportation, that as you're playing now, if you set the minister priorities or if you're watching an AI region, every now and then you'll see that the AI decides to build a road or a rail line to connect two cities for the purpose of improving supply between those locations. So these are other of the things that the AI improvements have really gotten into. And the upgrade refit changes around the game mechanic also play to other requests, things we've talked about in previous videos, that there's new technologies that can be researched that can buff those equipment pieces. So you might upgrade a unit to a better version of the unit, later refit it to an alternate version of it, and then you might even research technologies to buff the upgraded refit unit. And so again, us trying to make all these features that work well together and just increase the gameplay experience. So hopefully you guys like what's coming with all of that. If you've got any feedback or comments, leave them down below or find us on our forums, on Discord, or any of the social medias. And we'll keep making these videos, tell you about the new features. Thanks for watching.